Hello, Divine Ones. Lucy Shahjahan with you. Just popping in for a quick chat to those of you who are going through your life right now, collecting a lot of information. You are knowledge gatherers. So, what do I mean by that? You plug into a lot of different podcasts, you're reading a lot of self help books, possibly going to therapy, going to workshops, speaking with friends, speaking with family, really trying to get to the bottom of why love isn't working for you. And so it's just pulling in information from anywhere that you can get it. And I'm going to be honest with you, that used to be me. Why I'm coming on to speak with you is that it is not going to get you what you want. And I want you just to close your eyes with me for a moment to plug into how much time you've already spent trying to figure this out on your own. Okay, so I want you to close your eyes. If you just allow yourself to go there and to think of all of the time that you have spent in therapy, in workshops, the time it takes to read books, to read podcasts, to chat with friends over and over again about the same thing, chat with your parents, whoever it is that you're trying to get this assistance from, how many times you're meditating, just take a moment to really let yourself get honest about the time that it's taken till now. It's hours. It's hours that turn into days. It's days that turn into weeks. It's weeks that turn into years, and it's years that have already turned into decades for some of you in here right now. And it's not going to stop until you understand deeply that it is not information that you actually need. I attract in extremely bright women. I do. I attract in go-getters. They are bright. Many of them have done PhDs. But when they're ready to take the leap, they finally get like, oh, I am super bright. I'm super academic. I'm very independent. I'm always someone that always figures it out. But when they come to me, they're like, Lucy, I feel like I'm hitting my head against a fucking brick wall and I'm so done trying to figure it out. I'm confused. I don't get it. Like, what the actual fuck? And yeah, it does feel like that. I totally felt like that. But this is not something that you can figure out intellectually just by gaining as much knowledge and wisdom as you can. Because if that was the case, you would have already figured it out and you would be thriving right now in a beautiful soulmate relationship. And many of you would be thriving actually living on purpose as well. It's a much bigger conversation than just attracting in your soulmate. It's not that you can do the same way as papers that you do for university or for that PhD or for that master's degree. It's not something you can just check off the boxes. Done my affirmations, looked at this podcast, gone to this workshop, read these books. None of that shit matters. If you lived with the Dalai Lama, that doesn't matter either. I often use that example because at the end of the day, what matters is you getting rid of those bodyguards, rid of that armor that is protecting your heart space right now. And until you can actually commit and make yourself the priority to do the heart work, to integrate what you've been learning up here, until you're willing to actually get real and to do what it takes to get vulnerable, to drop into your feminine nature, you are going to remain in the masculine. I've got this, I'm just going to work it out, very independent nature, and you're going to keep slamming into walls and you're going to get really fucking bitter at why this isn't working for you. And then you're going to create stories of, well, maybe I'm just not the marrying type, maybe I'm just not the soulmate type, maybe I'm just not meant to have this, and it's bullshit. There's an inner control freak, there's an inner little girl that is very, very stubborn because it's her mission to keep you safe. So just by doing all the top line intellectualizing, it gives you a little bit of gratification to tell yourself, well, I'm doing all these things, but you only have to look at your life right now and go, well, where was I this time last year? And in the last relationship I was in, how was that different to all the relationships before that? These are the questions you have to ask yourself. Many of you that are going through all of the, going through the motions, you're not feeling a damn thing. You've got a bucket of information, you could practically write a book with it, but none of it's being integrated or getting into your heart space, which makes it redundant. You can't fake self-worth. Men can feel when a woman is really inside of her heart, when a woman's in her power, when a woman takes up space and asks for what she wants, just as much as a woman can sense, a woman that's flat out in her victimhood, that's scared to ask for what she wants. She's a people pleaser. She'll just be like, well, whatever's easier for you. And that is not the sort of woman that a man wants to commit to. And it's not the sort of man that a woman would want to commit to either. I don't want to marry some guy that's just a yes man. So you're doing yourself a massive disservice right now to be on autopilot, thinking that you've got this, thinking that you've done enough work right now and you're just going to figure it out on your own. I say this with love because today is a very symbolic day. It's 4/4/20, right? The 4th of April. And there's a huge portal that's opening astrologically for us to really step up, to plant the seeds of what it is that we desire. But you've got to have your eyes open and your blinkers off and be ready to actually open your heart in order to receive. So that is my message right now, that your ovaries, your eggs are not waiting for you to get your shit together. You will miss out on being a mum, and many of you aren't even admitting to yourself that that's what you want. I have a lot of women telling me conditionally, well, Lucy, I don't know if I want to be a mum. I mean, it depends on the guy. No, it fucking doesn't. Why does your dream depend on someone else? Many of you have numbed yourself and moved so far away from what you want because you don't believe that you can actually have it. You won't even admit to yourself, I do want to have a soulmate relationship. I do want to be the chosen one. I do want to be a mum. I want to have a family. You're too scared to even utter those words in case it doesn't happen. And then you hide behind, well, I'll just put my head in another self-help book. I'll just listen to another podcast. I'll just do some more affirmations and be positive and, be a good person. And none of that shit matters. I mean, yes, we want to be nice people. We want to be a good person. Absolutely. But many of you are full of fucking shit. And yeah, I said it and I'll say it again until the cows come home because, what I notice with the women that come and change their life from doing soul to soul is they are surrendered. Many of them, Gemma right now who's listening has done a PhD. She's one of the ones I'm talking about. Very, very bright, very tapped in. She'd done a lot of work. But when she came to me, she was just like, I cannot figure this out on my own. I'm going to do whatever it takes, Lucy. This is not my domain. I need help with this. And now this girl is on fire. Just ask her. Right, Gemsy? So it takes a willingness. It takes a vulnerability to actually be able to put your hand up and say, no, I haven't got this and I'm not where I want to be. Pretending that I've got my shit together. I'm sick of pretending that everything's fine. I'm sick of pretending that I'm fine being single. Yeah, what's fine? I was fine being single too, but I wasn't thriving. I was holding it together. And I was pretending so much and moving so far away from what I wanted that I tricked myself. I numbed myself. I had so many fucking coping mechanisms, I didn't know which way was up. And that's what's going on for you girls that are living in your head, intellectualizing your life when it comes to love. And love is not the same thing as doing a university degree. This is why you're struggling. This is why you can't figure it out. And this is what's causing you immense frustration and confusion. Because you haven't been taken through a process, clearly, of actual integration to get out of your head and into your heart, into your beautiful feminine. What do I mean by the feminine? I mean learning how to trust yourself and trust men and trust the universe, trust love. That's a trait and a quality of what it is to be in your feminine. The masculine is, I've got this. I'm just going to keep collecting more information, and I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to make it happen. That's the masculine. The feminine looks like letting go, surrendering, asking for support, putting herself into the collective energy with other soul sisters in a tribe of women that want to rise together. That's a woman who is going to have a soulmate relationship because she knows that she's way stronger with a tribe of women who want the same thing than sitting there on an island trying to figure it out herself. So that's my message today on this incredibly potent day. My wish is for many of you in here to wake up and to do whatever it's going to take to put yourself and your dream first. It needs to be your number one priority if you have any hope of actually attracting in not just a relationship, because this is not what my community is about. This community is called Ignite Your Queen, right? Your feminine, your power, your voice, and attract your king, your soulmate. Hey, Sharon. This is not let's play small and hope for the best and just settle for whatever the fuck comes our way. This is not that community. This is me having faith you do have in your own self right now. When I speak to my women who I invite into Soul to Soul, I can see their greatness more than they can. And I'm the one that can help you get that greatness plugged in. We're not here to talk about you being broken, or you being so wounded that you're damaged goods. That's a fallacy. That's an illusion. You were born whole and you still are whole. It's just that you've moved away from your alignment. You've moved away from your divinity. You've moved away from who you really are. And until you make that the fucking priority, how on earth do you expect someone to come in who's going to mirror back to you someone that's sitting in their greatness? It's not going to happen. You're hovering down here in Mediocreville with a lot of victimhood running through your veins. So what do you attract in? The same thing. A guy who's got victimhood and wounds running through his veins, who's not playing a big game at all. Like attracts like. But when my women come in and say, no, Lucy, I want my fucking dream, I'll do whatever it takes, they start to go up the vibrational elevator like this. Boom, 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 boom. They can't attract in drop kicks down here because they've raised their frequency, they've raised their self-worth, they've got their heart open, they know who they are. They're connected to their brilliance again. And that is fucking palpable. And it's undeniable and it's magnetic. So these people right there, these bottom feeders, they can't penetrate. Up here, you start to attract in the high quality, high caliber man who is going to show up for you because you've learned how to show up for yourself. So that is my message with my big wand of selenite right now that I'm sharing with you. That until you make it about you, just like I posted in this group yesterday, until you honestly make yourself the priority to do whatever the fuck it is going to take to get your heart open, to fire all of those bodyguards that are keeping you single, keeping you small, keeping you safe, so you don't have to risk getting hurt in love. Until you are willing to step into that place, to actually allow yourself to be supported, to integrate the deep heart work, you are going to keep finding yourself in the exact same situation. And that's on you. Gemma said, I'm unrecognizable from the person I was 6 months ago because of Lucy in this process. Shit gets very real, but being deeply in love and changes, you see the world every day. It's freeing, light and beautiful. Choose it. Choose you, the best version of you, more than anything you could imagine or comprehend before you go through it. Oh, that makes me emotional, Gemma. It makes me emotional because when Gemma came to me, fuck it, I'm getting chills everywhere. When Gemma came to me, she was so sad that I ended the call after the first 15 minutes. And I said, darling, I can't help you right now. She came back the very next day and she fought for it. And she showed up and she said, no, I'm not taking no for an answer. I've been looking for this kind of support my entire life and I just tried to sabotage it yesterday. And I'm going to do whatever it fucking takes, Lucy, to work with you. Now, that's not coming from my ego because it's so much bigger than me, right? I work with the divine. I work with God, creator, the universe, whatever you relate to. Even for my atheists, you know there's something bigger than you. That's who I work with. So it's so much bigger than all of us, the work that I do, right? I don't even have any ego in it because as far as I'm concerned, Soul to Soul is channeled through me. And it's from all the experience that I've had that I've put into this profound process. So when I'm leading people back home to who they are, I've got the support of the entire divine because I am a phenomenal channel. And Gemma could feel the truth of that. And that's why she was like, I'll fucking do whatever it takes. And Gemma is someone who is incredibly bright, who's just done a PhD, right? And I'm saying that because there's many of you in here that are so, you're so, what's the word? You rely on your academia. You rely on everything that you've collected on your CV to validate your worth. And it's not. Your worth does not exist on a fucking piece of paper. Your worth is either emanating from your heart space and shining from your eyes, or it's not. There's no gray area. There's no in between. You're either leading from the absolute pureness of who you really are and from your heart, or you are being a version of who you think you should be. Sharon, I've done a shitload of work, over 10 years of work. I've spent thousands and thousands of dollars on myself to get the very best support, and then I've channeled it into a process. But the truth is, Sharon, ever since I was even like a very, very little girl, since I was 4 years old, I was speaking to the universe. And I was sitting at the end of my bed because I experienced trauma as a little girl. And I was very, very connected to the other realm. It wasn't until I got to my late 30s that I said yes to actually stepping up to support as many women as I could once I was able to embody and activate and integrate, getting my heart open, where I did attract in my king, because I used to just attract in the biggest drop kicks ever because I wasn't integrating what I was learning, which is why I wanted to come on and share. Yeah. So that's my message, is this is a real wake-up call, because until you do get that heart open, you're not actually being of service to the people around you. You're giving them a small version of you. You're not connected, and you're missing out on really deep connection, even with loved ones. You certainly can't have deep, connected, intimate sex when your heart is not open. You can have sex, but not that kind of love where you're really vibrating and connecting with that man in front of you, where you're able to have him look into your eyes and really be with you. That's going to take you getting your heart open. And there is nothing quite like it. I know both worlds, and I can tell you that it's not even sex. It's seriously like two souls deeply connecting. And it's phenomenal. It's epic. It's something that you can't even put words into. So, yeah. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I thought you were asking me, Sharon, how I found it. Anyway, it was a good question. You were asking Gemma. Anyway, that's my message to you girls, is to do whatever it's going to take for you, right? Because I need you in your light. I want you to come join me to raise the frequency on this planet. I want you to be getting loved every single day. I want you to be having cuddles and waking up with a man by your side who fucking adores you. If you want to have babies, then have babies. Like, I want more of that in this world. I want women to be fucking having it all. That is my mission. That's what I want more than anything, is to see women feeling liberated, getting out of the suffering, getting out of the stuckness, getting out of the victimhood, getting out of feeling like you can't do anything. It's bullshit. I want to see you expressing yourselves, taking up space unapologetically. So I'm sending you so much love. Please meditate tonight. It's 10:45 EST. It's 7:45 PST, and you'll have to figure out the other time zones. But we're going to meditate all together for 20 minutes, and I'm going to post the link in here so that we can all do this and create epic high vibration, so we can fire us off. All right, biggest blessings and love to you, divine ones.